Like I said in the first video with Esperanza, there's going to be some of you out there that will say, oh, that's BS, that's not the first time that horse has seen this tarp. And for those of you who choose not to believe, that's fine. I'm not going to get upset about that. We each have our right to our own opinions. But I can assure you that this is the first time she's seen it. Well, she's accepted that. She kind of took a deep breath and did a little snort there. I don't know if you could hear it on the video, but that was a sign to me that she was maybe going to get a little upset with what was happening to her. So, again, I back off, and it's a win for both of us. Horses will almost always be more afraid of scary objects behind them than scary objects that are in front of them. So when you're teaching a horse to accept a new object, never try to come up on the side of them like you would if you were, you never approach them from here in the beginning, because that's going to really upset them, and it's going to cause them to activate that flight response and make them want to run away from you. This is the same way I'd get a horse used to wearing a blanket. She's accepting it, and I'm not pushing my luck by going too far at once. I'm taking the small successes and I'm building on them. Now, I can tell you all horses aren't going to be as easy as she is. I'm not saying that they are. We've raised her in such a way that she doesn't tend to be a spooky animal. And we try to do that with all of our animals so that they'll accept new things in a positive manner. Now, as you approach, now you see her licking and chewing there. That's another sign that she's completely okay. She's relaxed. She's not thinking about what's scaring her. And she's pawing a little bit there like she's kind of getting tired of this. So I'm happy with what we've accomplished here on this side. I'm going to do the same thing from the other side and see how that goes. What you do on one side of the animal, you need to do on the other side. You'll hear a lot of people say that if you teach something on one side, by the time you get to the other side, it's like they've never seen it before. I've had some cases where it's been like that, but my personal belief is that if you do it right on the first side, that some of that will transfer over. So again, I'm going to let her see it first before I touch her with it. And she gave me the curiosity response. She looked over at it like, okay, what's that? And she turned away from it without being upset, which is a sign to me that she checked it out. She said, oh, I know what that is, and I'm comfortable with it. So again, I'm going to touch her with it, and I'm going to back away. I might have been able to get away with just putting this on her right now, but I don't want to push my luck and put me and set me back, and so I have to go back and start over at a earlier position. And if that happens to you, and you push your luck a little bit, and your horse blows up on you, that's okay. All you do is you go backwards a little bit, you go back to the head, you let them sniff it and explore it, and you work forward. Go back to a place that they were comfortable with, and start from there, and then progress. horses are going to be afraid of things that happen to be on both sides of them at the same time. I'm over here on her off side, and she understands I'm over here, and the stimuli, this blue tarp, is over here too, so that makes sense to her. So the next step is I want to get her used to something touching her on both sides of her at the same time. Some horses have a real problem with this. They don't quite understand how you can be on one side of them, and the stimuli can be on the other side. She's dealing with it quite well. Again, I take it away when I have a success so I don't push my luck. I come back, present it to her so she's aware of what I'm doing. What a good girl. There is a great success right there. If you've ever had a rope, a lead rope, fall down and touch them by the feet while you're on them, you know that can be an accident waiting to happen. And by letting them experience things like this before that happens to you, you're much more likely to be safe. And that is the whole premise of the way I train my animals. We call our place up here Quiet Horse Ranch. My email is quiethorseranch@yahoo.com. My whole philosophy about everything I do with horses, mules, or donkeys is getting them quiet. I can teach the other stuff later, the flying lead changes, all the fancy stuff that people want to seem to get to first. In my opinion, those come with time. You put these foundations, these basics on them before, and then you'll live to be old enough to and wise enough to get those other things done. Horses tend to be nervous about things that are backed by their back legs. She is a really good filly, and she's responding really well to this. I promise you that there are the majority of horses that are a little more upset than this, and if I was dealing with one that was like that, I'd do the same technique, but I'd take a little bit longer on each step. So she's kind of stepping there. She looks back and gives me a big eye like she's not quite concerned. And the reason for that is she just stepped on the tarp with this off hind leg. So this is where I might expect to have a problem. So I'm going to put myself in a safe position up here front where she's not going to spin and kick me, and I'm putting some pressure on her. This is an entirely new stimuli. You can see how she's standing on that, putting pressure on her. Oh, and she moved away and touched it. Fantastic. I couldn't be more pleased with that. I feel confident with the way things are going with her, so I'm going to reach under here. I'm in a safe position again on a horse. Now, if I was working with a mule right now, she could tag me, so you have to be very, very careful. I'm going to pull this, and I'm going to desensitize her to this strange tarp underneath her body. I'll warn you again, and I'll tell you again, this can be very, very dangerous. So if you're doing this with your horse, please understand that you may need to take it much, much slower than I've taken it with Esperanza. As you begin to get better, and you understand how to read the horse's cues better and her body language, you'll be more likely to be able to progress at a faster rate if the horse is willing to accept it.